Cravings are not a sign of weakness. They're not a sign of lack of willpower or something being wrong with you. They are 100% normal, and we all experience them.
Welcome to Talkin' Shit, the podcast where we get real about the unfiltered truths women face in the quest for perfection. I'm Jana, your host, a dietitian and fellow woman navigating the pressure to have it all together. The perfect body, career, relationships, and making it all look effortless. Who set that standard anyway? Here, we're calling out the diet fads, hustle culture, beauty standards, and everything else that keeps us feeling stuck. But we're not just venting, we're diving into how to break free and rewrite the rules on your terms. So grab a coffee or a glass of wine and let's talk some shit. Together, we'll uncover how to live a life that's unapologetically yours. This is Talkin' Shit. Let's dive in.
Today, I am going to be diving into one of the most requested topics and one of the biggest struggles women share with me when it comes to weight loss, energy, and just feeling in control of their health, and that's cravings. So if you have ever found yourself standing in front of the pantry at 9 p.m., searching for something sweet or grabbing chips at 3 p.m. because you just can't get through the afternoon without them, then this episode is for you. Hi, I wanted to share something completely new with you, my how to eat fast food and lose weight guide. Because sometimes dinner comes in a paper bag through your car window, and no, that doesn't mean you failed at eating healthy. This guide was created for real women with real lives, from juggling careers or kids or both to those nights when cooking just isn't happening. I'll show you how to make choices that support your health, even when fries are on the menu. Inside, I'll show you the exact menu hacks from McDonald's, Taco Bell, Starbucks, and other major chain fast food restaurants that keep your blood sugar steady, cravings calm, and your jeans fitting. Grab the guide today, go to my website, healthwins.org, and snag your instant download. I always like to pause and dig into the why behind the struggle with food, because so often it's not really about the food at all. Many of us are carrying around mindset beliefs that simply aren't true until we challenge those. And it's nearly impossible to create lasting change until we actually do start to get really curious about, why am I going to this food item all the time, right? So the first step is awareness or curiosity. So let's start here. Cravings are not a sign of weakness. They're not a sign of lack of willpower or something being wrong with you. They are 100% normal, and we all experience them. Cravings are signals from your body. And when you learn how to decode those signals, you'll finally be able to respond in a way that feels calm and confident without falling into that trap of restriction or thinking something is wrong with you or your body if you have a craving for, say, some chocolate chips or a cookie or chips or cheese or wine, maybe. I don't know, whatever you're craving, right? There's nothing wrong with you. It's just your body talking to you. So today I'll walk through what is a craving and why cravings happen in the first place, the three main types of cravings and what they really mean, how food, stress, and sleep all impact cravings, and my 5 go-to strategies to calm those cravings without feeling like you simply have to rely on your willpower. And of course, I'll give you some real life examples from my own journey and from the women that I coach as well. So let's start with the basics. The definition of a craving is this. It's a powerful desire for something. And I want you to notice that word powerful, because cravings aren't just a casual thought like, oh, that sounds good. They're usually felt in an intensity, and they feel urgent, especially when they are very emotionally driven. And they can feel like they completely take over your mind until you just eventually give in. They're your body's way of communicating with you, though. They can come from a physical need. For example, if you have not eaten enough calories all day long, They can come from an emotional need, like you're stressed or lonely or bored. And food, we oftentimes think can comfort that, or, and I'm air quoting, fix it. Or they can come from habit. So when your brain has learned to associate a specific time, place, or activity with eating. So when we say a powerful desire for something, it's not a reflection of weakness or lack of willpower. It's simply a signal. And when you learn to decode that signal, that's when everything really starts to shift. You stop feeling out of control and you start feeling like you can be an ally with your body instead of constantly being at war with it. Or a lot of women will describe it as it feels like such a battle. So that's the perspective I want you to hold on to as we move through this episode. Cravings aren't your enemy. They're your body's way of sending you a message. And our bodies are really amazing miracles in this way. When it comes to cravings, the question is not, why can't you control it? The real question is, what does your body need today? And when you ask that, you shift from fighting against your body to working with it. That's how we move into mindfulness and peace instead of that guilt and maybe the restriction aspect. So, why do cravings actually happen? Here are some of the biggest reasons. Number one, blood sugar swings. When your blood sugar is riding a roller coaster that up and down all day long because you've skipped meals, cut out carbs, or maybe you experienced a binge, or eaten foods all by themselves. For example, if you've had a piece of fruit without any protein or fat, your body goes into quick fix mode. And the fastest fuel it knows is sugar and refined carbs. That's why those cravings feel so urgent. It's not that you're weak. It's literally your biology. It's simply your body trying to get rapid energy to stabilize itself. So that's number one. That's a lot of times what most of us experience, and why in my coaching programs, I really like to focus in on balancing your blood sugar, because we know with balancing your blood sugar, we can decrease your cravings by upwards of 60% and feel so much better throughout the day. So number two is nutrient needs. Sometimes cravings are your body's way of asking for a nutrient. For example, chocolate. It can be a sign of low magnesium. Or craving like meat or fatty foods, that could be a sign that maybe you need a little bit more iron in your diet. There's a lot of different nutrients that our body needs, and that can be one of the reasons why you're craving certain foods. Number three, emotional regulation. So food lights up those brain's reward systems. And if you feel stressed or lonely or exhausted, your body naturally craves the quick dopamine hit. So many of us have been taught since childhood to turn to food for comfort and coping. Because as some women have shared with me, it's consistent and it doesn't let you down. And I know exactly how it's going to taste and what it's going to do for me. So we're going to dive into a little bit more on that emotional regulation, because it doesn't have to be negative emotions either. It can be really positive emotions as well. Think of it. How often do we reward kids, or maybe how often were you rewarded as a kid with ice cream? Say if you did a job well done with really good report card. So again, it's all the emotions. It's not just negative emotions. It's also positive emotions that we can go to food to that we identify with food. So number four is habit loops. If you always eat ice cream while watching TV, your brain wires that connection. Soon, sitting down on the couch triggers that craving automatically. This has nothing to do with willpower. It's just how your brain has been trained.
And here's the really encouraging part is with awareness and practice, you can retrain your brain to respond differently. You can literally create a new craving pathway. So if you have been trained, which we've all been trained, we can retrain our brain or rewire our brain to do something new and different. This is something I go much deeper into my 6-week self-paced program, Cravings to Confidence, and in my group coaching program as well, because learning to decode and reframe cravings is one of the most powerful shifts you can make for your health, weight, and your confidence. So remember, cravings aren't random. They actually follow patterns, and once you understand the root cause, they become predictable. The key is to approach them with curiosity instead of frustration. When you get aware of why a craving is happening, you can create a realistic game plan that sets you up for food success. Okay, so now that we have an understanding of why cravings happen, let's break down into some different categories that you'll probably instantly recognize. So you may have sweet cravings. Why this happens? Usually triggered by blood sugar dips, low energy, stress hormones peaking in the afternoon or evening. So if you're someone that is experiencing a lot of sugar cravings, a lot of sweet cravings, these are some of the reasons why they happen. Here's how it shows up, though. Here's what you might be experiencing from a day-to-day perspective. Say it's 3 p.m. at work, you've had coffee and maybe a light lunch, and suddenly you're digging for some candy in your desk drawer or heading to Starbucks for something sweet and some more caffeine. Or after dinner, you find yourself standing in the pantry looking for cookies or ice cream, not because you're hungry, but because your body wants that dopamine hit to unwind. Or maybe you skip breakfast, and by mid-morning, your body is screaming for a muffin, a pastry, or soda to keep you going. So that's if you are craving sweets. Those are some of the things that you might experience throughout the day. Now we'll get into the salty, crunchy cravings. Why these happen? Often linked to stress, cortisol spikes, habit, or even dehydration. Your body oftentimes confuses thirst with hunger, and crunchy textures can actually release tension. So how this might show up is after a stressful Zoom meeting, you find yourself grabbing a bag of chips, even though you just had lunch. You come home from a long day, drop your bag on the counter or wherever you put it, and immediately start munching on pretzels while making dinner. Or late night, the crunch of crackers or popcorn feels calming while watching Netflix. It's less about hunger and more about stress relief. So again, those are for those of you that crave something salty or crunchy, again, something to maybe just, again, become aware of in your own behaviors and habits. The next one we'll look at comfort cravings such as creamy, cheesy, heavy foods. Why they happen? They're really linked to our emotions, particularly loneliness, exhaustion, sadness, or simply needing to numb out with soothing foods. These foods often feel like a hug in a bowl. How it shows up, though. After a long, draining day, mac and cheese or pizza suddenly sound like the only foods that will hit the spot. You feel lonely or overwhelmed and reach for ice cream straight from the carton because it gives you a temporary sense of comfort. Or maybe you're so tired that the thought of cooking feels impossible. So you grab creamy, heavy foods that feel rewarding, even if you weren't hungry to begin with. So again, this is all for awareness. This is all for understanding, keeping it in curiosity. Again, there's nothing to be fixed, nothing wrong, but for you to start understanding these connections of craving food or eating certain foods and why that might be happening. So I encourage you to take a moment and really reflect. What craving or cravings do you experience most often?
Once you recognize which craving pattern shows up most often in your life, you can pause and ask yourself, what is my body really asking for? That awareness is the first step to regaining control without guilt, shame, or relying on sheer willpower. And I want to pause even for that. Like, I love this question so much. What is your body really asking for? Because this is a saying I have that I share so often is food is part of the equation, but it's not the entirety of the equation. Your body has needs far beyond the food you put on your plate. And this is where we're really starting to understand that and expand your needs through a daily basis, right? Like, so yes, you need nourishment, you need fuel, but you also need comfort and calm that food cannot give you and will never solve that problem. Well, at least long term. All right, so in this next part, we're going to look at food, stress, and sleep. These are really the three biggest lifestyle factors that fuel those cravings. So let's talk about food. If your meals don't include protein, fiber, and healthy fat, your blood sugar will spike and crash, and that crash is what really drives those cravings. So for example, if you skip breakfast or you're having just coffee, it really sets your mid-morning up to have sugar cravings. And you might already experience that if that really resonates with you. Number 2 is stress. Stress increases cortisol, which makes your body crave quick energy. That's why stressful days often end in late night binges. The craving isn't weakness, it's really your chemistry. Your body's trying to acclimate itself. Again, nothing wrong with it. We just want to understand it. And sleep. Now, this one I talk about at length with my coaching clients because this is one of the big ones. When you're sleep deprived, and this is something that I've really struggled with in my own journey, when you're sleep deprived or struggle with sleep or turning off your brain, your hunger hormone ghrelin goes up and your fullness hormone leptin goes down. Isn't that fun, right? Translation, when you get less sleep, it equals more cravings, especially for carbs. So if you're feeling like you're doing everything, but you're still like craving the carbs, this is where you have to look at, okay, what beyond the food do we need to start making adjustments so that you truly create a lifestyle change that is supporting your health as a whole. So cravings aren't just about food. They're about how you're living your day to day. If you want to calm cravings for good, your plan has to really go beyond your plate. Food is absolutely part of the equation for weight loss, but it's not the whole equation. Stress, sleep, movement, mindset, and even your environment, they all play a huge role in how your body responds and what it craves ultimately. That's why diets that only focus on eat this, not that, never last. Because without addressing the bigger picture, how you live, how you cope, how you rest, you'll always feel like you're fighting against your body instead of really working with it. All right, let's talk about what this actually looks like in real life. I want to walk you through a few of my favorite strategies for calming cravings without white knuckling it with willpower. And if you're sitting there thinking, yes, but I need more examples, more support, and real life ways to apply this, this is exactly what I dive into inside my group coaching program. It's packed with practical tools that don't suck and actually fit your real life. You can apply for registration for our next round. I only launch it twice a year, and the next one will be coming in January. Or you can also get the instant download for my 6-week self-paced course, Cravings to Confidence. You can go to my website, healthwins.org, and you can instantly download that. Okay, so here are some of my strategies that can be really helpful in real life. Number 1, we want to balance your plate. Every meal should ideally have a protein source, a fiber source, and also a healthy fat. That combo is what keeps your blood sugar steady, your energy up, and your cravings down. For example, instead of grabbing a plain bagel, Try half a bagel topped with smoked salmon and some avocado. You'll still be able to enjoy that bagel, but the added protein and fat will slow digestion, keep you satisfied longer, and prevent that crash that drives cravings. So, again, to balance or lower or control our cravings, we're not looking at restriction and complete elimination of foods. We're really looking to create a balanced approach with food. And so we can decrease some food groups and increase other food groups to create more of that balance. Number 2, pair your carbs with protein and vice versa. My rule is no food eats alone. Carbs by themselves will just spike your blood sugar and leave you craving more and pretty hungry pretty quickly. We want to pair them with protein or a healthy fat for them to really steady or stabilize each other. So, for example, instead of grabbing an apple, which is really healthy for you, but it only gives you carbohydrates, quick energy, and so you'll probably feel very full pretty quickly. It spikes your blood sugar, then it drops it. We want to add it with some peanut butter or some almond butter. That's one of the reasons why we do that. Or maybe some cheese or some cottage cheese or whatever protein fat combo you actually enjoy. That way you're getting the fiber, the protein, and the fat, and they all start working together. You'll stay more full for a longer period of time, and you won't be searching for another snack, say in like 30 minutes. Number 3 is we want to hydrate before you snack. Now, this one gets a little wonky for me. I certainly understand why individuals say drink water before you eat to really check in with your hunger, because yes, when you are dehydrated, it can make you feel like you are hungry. I certainly get that. But if you're hungry, you just need to eat. You don't need water. So I go back and forth with this one. So here is something to think about. The next time a craving hits, you can drink a glass of water or sparkling water first, then pause. And here's the powerful part. The pause is you connecting with your body and what it truly needs. If you're still hungry after, that's okay. Go ahead and eat. The difference is you'll be eating with intention instead of on autopilot. That tiny pause creates space between the craving and your choice. And that's where you're starting to really build that control, because you are, in fact, in control. Number 4 of the 5, we want to shift your environment. So cravings aren't just about biology, they're also about your habits. If you always eat chips on the couch while watching TV, your brain wires that routine together, and the couch actually becomes that trigger for you. For example, instead of automatically reaching for chips, breaking the cycle by inserting something different, like taking a 5-minute walk, stretching, or even making a cup of tea, then you can ask yourself if you still want the snack. You may, and that's totally fine, but you've started to retrain your brain towards new, healthier default patterns, and you've started to slowly break that autopilot cycle. This is where behaviors start to change by not cutting foods out, but by interrupting old habits. We want to think about what we can add in versus what we need to take out, because our brain likes to be receiving things versus things being taken away from us. Number 5, add, don't restrict. This is one of my favorite principles, because instead of obsessing over what you can't have, we focus on adding more nutrient-dense options into your day. So when you crowd your plate with foods that fuel you, cravings naturally quiet down. So this is why I say our goal is to nourish and fuel your body, not to restrict or deprive it. For example, if ice cream is your favorite dessert, why would you swear it off forever? Ice cream is delicious. We don't want to swear it off forever. That's a recipe for a binge later on. So instead, allow yourself to enjoy it on purpose. Maybe you also add Greek yogurt parfaits with berries a few nights of the week. Balance, not restriction, is what keeps things sustainable and also keeps it real life, and also keeps it from where you think you have to be perfect in order to get this right. You don't need perfection in order to get nutrition right, but we do want to see progress so that you feel really good about your decisions. And remember, I have this saying, one cookie a day is better than 7 cookies in one day. This is part of where we start to establish what balance and moderation looks like for you and where you actually feel in control with your food choices and your body. So let's recap just a little bit. We want to balance your plate, pair your carbs, no food eats alone. We want to check in with your hunger hormones, maybe drink something beforehand, check in with yourself, see if you're truly hungry or if you're just maybe on autopilot. We want to shift your environment and focus on adding, not restricting. These are not diets or rules. They're simple strategies that help you feel calm, in control, and align with your body instead of fighting it. So your body is meant to be checked in with. And this is part of that strategy when we're looking at how do we better manage and navigate cravings as we start checking in with your body, right? Like your body is talking to you all the time. Whether we're listening to it or not is a different thing. Okay, so I want to share a real life story with you. Let me take you back for a minute and share my story from my own life because I know what it feels like to be stuck in that cycle. And I want you to see that change is not only possible, but it's definitely powerful for your life. And that's my goal, is for you to feel empowered. There was a time when I was deep in the restrict-binge cycle, living at my heaviest weight to date, just shy of about 200 pounds. My days were all about control, particularly with food. I prided myself on being good. I'd skip meals, avoid carbs, stay busy, and convince myself I didn't really need food. I wore that restriction almost like it was a badge of honor, like I was a good girl because I didn't need food. Spoiler alert, I need a lot of food now and I feel fantastic. But then at nighttime, it would just hit me and it was like something switched. The moment I'd walked through the door, the cravings were uncontrollable, or at least that's how they felt. I'd head straight to the fridge and the pantry, and it felt like I could not stop. I'd eat my way to way past the point of being full, but still couldn't bring myself to stop. Like I knew I wasn't hungry anymore, and yet I still had this desire to keep eating. And then the guilt would hit, the shame would hit. I'd tell myself, you've eaten way more than you should. You've blown it again. Why can't you just get your shit together? And so the next day, I do the only thing I thought I could, and that was restrict even more. I would start over, be good, as I'm air quoting that, be sure enough but sure enough, I would say, like, the cycle just kept repeating itself. It was good all day, restricting, doing all those things, and then binging at nighttime. And I really felt powerless. Like food had this grip on me I could not break. I even told myself I was addicted to food. And what made it worse, in every other area of my life, I was thriving. I was driven, successful, capable, but this was the one area I couldn't figure out. It made me feel completely broken, like there was something wrong with me, something that needed to be fixed. But here's what I actually eventually learned. I was not broken. There was nothing wrong with me. My body didn't need fixing. It simply needed understanding. It was just my biology doing what it was designed to do. And once I realized that, everything started to shift. Instead of criticism, I leaned into curiosity. Instead of judgment, I started asking questions like, what does my body actually need right now? I stopped seeing my body as a problem to solve and started seeing it as a miracle to partner with. And that's when real change began. I want you to know this. If you've ever felt powerless or convinced that you're addicted to food, or stuck in a cycle you can't seem to break, I've been there. And you are not broken. There is another way forward. Our bodies are smart. They're designed to be fed, nourished, and listened to. The old idea that if you just restrict harder, you'll fix the problem is not only outdated, it's damaging and it sucks. True freedom comes when you stop fighting your body and start working with it. And if this is really resonating with you and you're ready to finally break free from the restrict-binge cycle or that exhausting feeling of being addicted to food, you are exactly who I created my 6-week self-paced program for, Cravings to Confidence. You can enroll instantly on my website by going to healthwins.org, clicking on courses and selecting the Cravings to Confidence, and you can get that instant download where I walk you through the journey. So I just want to leave you with this. I so appreciate you giving me your time and listening to my voice for today. It's always such an honor. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with your girlfriends who need to remember that maybe they also are allowed to work with their body and not against it. So until next time, keep taking those small but powerful steps towards the strongest, most confident, healthiest version of you. You got this.